Hello, Texans. I'm Susanna, and this is the Susanna Gibbs Show. On the podcast with me today, I have Lauren Schmidt. She's with Rise Therapy Works, and she is a hypnotherapist. Now, when I say the word hypnosis, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it skepticism? Is it that it's a parlor trick? Now, I will say that both Psalm 1 and Psalm 119 call people to meditate on Scripture, that when believers meditate on God's Word, they will be blessed with flourishing. So, if you're a skeptic and think it's just a parlor trick, it's obviously been something that's been around for a long time. So I hope you enjoy this podcast and this discussion. We are sponsored by Gibb Insurance Services. This is the insurance agency. Please go to the website, gibbinsuranceDallas.com. You can find all kinds of information about this podcast. You can connect with us there. You can give us feedback. You can be like, hey, I don't believe anything from this podcast. Or you can just say, hey, I sure would like an auto insurance quote. And we'll be happy to talk to you either way. And now, on with the show. Lauren, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
I am Lauren Schmidt, and I am a clinical hypnotherapist, and I specialize in rapid transformational therapy. And what I do is I help people to overcome anxiety, depression, whatever their painful, struggling, presenting issues are, and really step into a life of freedom and peace and confidence.
So as a child who grew up in the 80s, I think about like all the silly detective shows that I watched at that time with my parents. It was Love Boat, not a detective show, but whatever. And there was always the parlor trick of somebody being hypnotized who was like doing random things and didn't remember anything, which is kind of not anything like what hypnosis really is, right?
Absolutely. Yes, that's correct. With hypnotherapy, you're accessing the subconscious mind through an altered state of awareness. And basically what that means is you're just going into an alpha brainwave state. So right now, you and I are in what's called beta brainwaves. So we are in our conscious mind. What people don't realize is we actually operate most of our day through our alpha state in our subconscious mind, which is our automatic mindset, right? So if you think about if you have ever driven somewhere and you've arrived and you thought, oh my gosh, I don't even remember how I got here. You were operating in subconscious. So we do it all the time without even realizing it. The beautiful thing about doing this kind of work through the subconscious mind is that it's very focused because our conscious mind is our learning mind. So that's going to be yes, no, you can't do this. It's going to be the ego mind. Whereas alpha brainwave, alpha state is more of the acceptor. And that state of mind is what holds all of our memories, all of our beliefs, true or false, negative, or good. And it is the acceptor of the mind. So it holds those beliefs and we're able to access them and get to the core, to the root of someone's problem so that we can then transform it, interrupt it, transform it, and create something create new beliefs, new patterns of behavior that are more beneficial and truthful for their life now.
So you talk about the alpha waves, the beta waves, but I know there's a lot of science behind this versus just one of those things that you have to accept, right? So can you talk a little bit about like some of the brain science and studies that have been done about hypnosis or hypnotherapy?
Yeah.
Do you prefer one or the other? Is hypnosis the correct phrase, or do you say hypnotherapy?
Well, I'm using hypnotherapy. So you're going into a state of hypnosis when you're going into the alpha brainwave state or theta. You can also go into theta. So the difference is that in alpha, you know, you and we're talking just like this. Your body feels very relaxed, right? Your eyes are closed, your body's relaxed. It's kind of like, if you're watching a movie or into a really good book and someone walks in, you know, they're there, but you're just highly focused, right? You can respond back. That feeling right before you fall asleep, that's alpha. And there's theta, where you are going to be more of like, it's before the dream state. So you're not responding, you're not talking, but you are receiving information. You're highly receptive to receiving suggestions and new beliefs. And so our mind is, we have what's called neuroplasticity, right? So we are able to form beliefs based on our experiences. So we attach meanings to our experiences, good, bad, or indifferent. And whether we realize it or not, once the subconscious mind accepts that, then that becomes our belief, our truth, okay? But and it will stay there until the subconscious mind accepts a new belief. And what we don't realize is that we go through our life with a belief that we have, and then we kind of think, okay, well, why are we stuck? Why are we not progressing? Why are we not living this life that we always thought we would live? Why are we struggling all the time, you know? And it's because you have accepted these beliefs at some point in your life, and you have created this status quo of safety. Because what is our mind's job? Our mind's job is to keep us surviving, which means it needs to keep us safe and protected. So once your mind has determined that, okay, this level you're at is safe, even if it's not what you like, it's not what you want, it doesn't make you happy, subconscious mind doesn't care about that. It only cares about your survival and your safety. So if you try to rise above it and do something different that is not familiar, the mind says, no, 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 let's go back. Let's go back. That's too much. You can't do this. But the beauty of the neuroplasticity is that we can rewire our mind with time, with repetition, and with the changing of our emotions, our emotional status, right? So letting go of all the built up cortisol that's been stored in our body that keeps us in the fear mode, stress mode, and then allowing for the new chemicals in the body, or not new, but just allowing for like the dopamine and the endorphins and the serotonin to become the new familiar. And we start changing the trajectory of our life.
You know what's so funny is, we talked last week, and I actually, I didn't even remember this until just now, because I'm in a different state, I guess, apparently. But I produced and wrote a movie where the main premise of the movie was the main character had repressed a memory, and he was going to see a hypnotherapist to get to that main memory that he had suppressed. And mostly I like this idea because we could do, like, when he's in this like subconscious world, it looked like this, and when he was in the real world, it looked like this. But
yeah,
I think there is, going back to that whole, the entertainment value of hypnosis is like the things that you forgot we're going to get to. But there's a huge history of hypnosis beyond just like what we learned in the 80s. Like, it's been around for forever.
Forever, since the beginning of time. because we're designed to be able to go into that alpha and theta brainwave, right? Into that state to change our mind, to change our beliefs.
So one of the things, what did you tell me abracadabra means?
So in Hebrew, abracadabra means, as I speak, I will create.
Which is fun.
So it isn't, right. So magicians, right? They're speaking and saying abracadabra, and they're creating this magic trick.
Mm-hmm. But then, and Sigmund Freud, he used hypnosis a ton, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then you also told me the Bible, it's referenced in the Bible, and I have a quote here that I found. It
Yeah.
says, and I think it's Romans. The subconscious mind is also your direct link to your universal consciousness, which is the source of all power and creativity. Amen. It is where the Holy Spirit dwells and operates,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
really kind of fun.
It's so true. If you just think about it for a moment, we were designed, we were created to heal. Our mind is created to heal itself, to change our beliefs. Our bodies are designed to heal. We just have to give our body and our mind the right direction, the right dialogue and communication. And once we do that, we start changing the chemicals in our body, right? So like I was mentioning before, we lessen the cortisol production, which comes from the amygdala in our brain. And we increase the production of the dopamine, the serotonin, the endorphins, the melatonin, all that good oxytocin, right? All those good, loving hormones that are going to help us be in a state of more pure joy, of contentment and peace. So, and then we're healing, we're changing, right? We create our reality every single day, all the time. We have about 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day, depending on how long we've been awake. And most of them come from our subconscious mind.
Is
We
this
don't
part of
even
the, like
realize we're
everybody
thinking
says,
them.
well, choose happiness, which I think there's a backlash of choose happiness because they're like, hey, listen, you can't choose it. You can't just choose to be happy because that's fake.
Well, well, I see exactly why they're saying it. Because, okay, if you think about this, have you ever heard of looping thoughts?
Yes.
So, okay, so one of the
But
things that
explain
I
what a
do,
looping thought is anyway, just
right?
because. Okay.
Yes. So you've got a looping thought. So the premises is that everything starts with a thought. Okay, so choose happiness starts with a thought. It's immediately followed by an emotion. Whether you are in tune with that emotion, most of us are not. It takes practice. It does. Like, it really takes practice to get in tune with how your body feels when you think of a particular thought, right? So choose happiness. Your body will tell you if you are in line with choosing happiness or not.
Mm.
So you will feel the tension in the chest, right? The stomach kind of knotting up, or a feeling of heaviness, right? Which is telling you, hey, right now you're not in alignment with choosing happiness. Doesn't mean you can't have happiness, right? Doesn't mean you won't be happy, but there's a disconnect in what's going on in your current life. So how do you work on that? How do you change that? So that's it. Your emotions are your truth teller. That's the truth serum, if you will. So you have the thought, choose happiness. You feel it. Do you feel happy? Do you feel a little bit of flicker, a flutter, some joy? Then for you, you're in alignment. That's amazing, right? But for somebody who isn't, they need to tune in with the emotions and what that truth serum is trying to show them and tell them.
So I'm reading in this book currently, and I can't think of the title. But in this book, she puts forth that naming the emotion is creating a story about this emotion. You're creating this story, you're creating this narrative. Feel the emotion in your body and work on that. And her whole thing is like, we don't have to name the emotion, which I kind of find fascinating because if you're somebody who is not super in tune with your emotions and your body, do you not need to learn to name them first, to listen, to find them in your body, to be able, but her whole thing is you don't have to identify the emotion. I struggle with that concept a little bit.
I do also. And the reason why is because when we have emotions, if we don't deal with them, let's say we suppress them, we ignore them, they don't go away. They actually just continue to build up until we face them, until we become aware of them, which for some people, they don't want to do it. And then they wonder why they have chronic illnesses and all kinds of physical issues going on. And that's maybe another conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But the emotions don't go away. They just repress until they manifest in such a way that they're like, knock, 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 look at me, pay attention to me. I'm not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to get bigger and I'm just going to get stronger. So for those who are willing, we are all capable, but not everybody is willing to become aware of the emotions that are attached to their thinking and their beliefs, right? For those of us who are willing to do it, it's an incredible journey, be it an uncomfortable one, but it's a journey that is going to give you so many answers, so much clarity, so that you can then make the necessary changes, right? You can choose to be different once you understand. And that's one of the things that I do is help clients to gain clarity on what it is exactly, when, where, how they formed the beliefs that are causing these negative emotions that are affecting their present life and will ultimately affect their future if they don't change. So once they see that, we can then redefine how the past affects them. We can't change the past, but we can redefine how it affects them, the meaning they attach to it. So they do not have to continue to have the emotional attachment that causes them pain, keeps them stuck and struggling.
So
and
let's
it's
say
beautiful.
Well, yes, agree. And so if you have somebody who's super open to hypnotherapy, who's maybe more advanced in hypnotherapy, how deep can you take somebody? How far back can you go when you're dealing with emotions and stuck patterns, etc.?
So for the clients who are open, we can go to past lives.
How do you access past lives?
It's a little bit of a different technique. It's funny because I actually had a client recently that went to a past life that wasn't intentional, right? It's just where her mind went to what we were working on with her, and it was incredible. But
where'd she go?
She went back to early human time, which she lived a life in an early human time as like a shaman type individual. Yeah, it was fascinating. But I've had clients go back to the womb because here's why. In the womb, the first sense you get that we develop is our hearing. Mm-hmm. So when we're in our mother's womb, we can hear what's going on. And we are also, through the placenta, we're also receiving the chemicals, the hormones from our mother. So if she's under a lot of stress, it will break through the placenta lining and we will get it. If she's very loved, very supportive, we will feel that as well. People can hear what's being said. So people's beliefs can form past lives and in this lifetime as early as in the womb.
How do you talk to people about past lives? Because I have to think there's people who immediately will be like, just no, I'm not going there. They're closed off to it. It's not something that they're open to. But the people who are, like, there's a level of, I guess, skepticism, but there's also no reason why, like, nobody has any proof. Like, you don't have proof either way, right?
Nope.
How do you talk to people about it when they're like, I feel like I have this vision? What does it mean?
Yeah. So a lot of times people will bring it up to me and say, oh, I have this feeling. I have this feeling like this didn't start in this lifetime. Like I've been dealing with this. I've been dealing with the fear of rejection, judgment, um, for as long as my soul has existed, right? Like I don't know what's going on. And so we can go back and we can do a past life regression where we go to particular lifetimes where that client has dealt with rejection or judgment, whatever it is that they're wanting to work on and work through. I have been through it myself, and I can tell you it's extremely powerful. It's amazing. And what I love about it with the type of therapy that I do is we're looking at it from a perspective of healing, a solution, a resolution. So we're not just going to look at the past life and that's it. What do I do now? No, there's a transformation that is going to come at the end of all of this. So with each session, with every time we work together, there's a transformation. So the client is changing, rewiring new neural pathways and releasing all that pent up, hard, painful emotions from their body that they've been storing for so long.
How is hypnotherapy different from a guided meditation?
So with guided meditation, you are still accessing the alpha brainwave as well. They're both extremely powerful. It's just different methods of induction. And with hypnotherapy, we are doing regression a lot of times. So we're going back to the events, the places, the time that the person experienced, where the depression began, where the anxiety started. We're going back so that they can see where it all began for them, right? And they can start saying, oh my gosh, so this is what I formed beliefs about. This is what I decided I am not good at or I'm not capable of, and whereas with a guided meditation, you're not doing any of that.
That makes sense. You're just trying to get to that alpha wave state and chill out and chill there versus use it as a tool to be like, I need to tweak something internally.
Yes. Yeah. Interrupt and rewire.
Mm-hmm,
right.
Mm-hmm. How long have you been doing this?
So I have been doing this for 3 years now.
And how did you wake up one day and go, you know what? Today I'm gonna learn how to become a hypnotherapist.
Well, it was through my own personal experience with RTT. I had 2 businesses prior to this one, and I was an event planner and a florist. So, and once I acquired the floral shop, I realized quickly that I was, I really had some issues that I needed to work through. Some sabotaging behaviors, anxiety that I did not know existed. I was very much fear of success, and I felt very out of control. Like at any moment, just all the balls I was juggling they were just going to fall and I was going to have nothing.
What does fear of success feel like? Like, what is that? Like, why would anybody be like, I'm scared to be successful?
Yeah. Well, fear of change is also fear of success.
Okay.
Yeah. It's what it stems down to, like I was mentioning earlier, is that our mind creates this foundation of what works for us, of what is safe. And if we've gone through experiences where we've tried for success, but we failed. Okay. I put that in quotes because we never really fail unless we just give up. Right. Then the mind says, it kind of forms this belief of don't go for that success because you'll be hurt, because you won't achieve it. and you don't even know what it's like to be successful. You're used to failing. You're used to just being here within this box. You could get a little bit, but you can't get much past that. You're in this glass box, right? And I'm going to keep you in it. So when I realized all of this, and I was not present, which takes some serious conscious effort to be present, right, in your moment. Because as being an event planner and working in events, you are always in the future. That's how you operate, is always in the future, months ahead. And when I decided, I had this realization one night that despite me asking my husband for help, he didn't really know what was going on. I didn't know what was going on within me. He was always physically there to help me in whatever I needed. But I had this realization that no one can help me but me. And I needed to figure out what was going on, and I needed to be the one to get help. And so through my research on YouTube and started meditating.
God bless YouTube.
Seriously. And started meditating, and Marissa Peer, who is the founder of RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy, she has a school where she trains, therapists out in the UK. I kept seeing her popping up, and I took a class, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. I could do this. I could do this by myself, thinking I didn't need a therapist and I would just follow the YouTube videos. No, that. You can only get so far when you're just working on yourself. You need the objective guide to help you. And so I decided I needed more. And so I went to an RTT therapist, and within a couple of months, I went from being so on edge, not able to sleep. I had this horrible pain in my hip. I had like acid reflux horribly for years. All these physical ailments were going away. I was feeling at peace. It's like the clouds had lifted and there was sun shining. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I can change, anyone can change. Like, I'm not special, in terms of that I'm the only one who can do this. And in one of my sessions, I actually went back to a time in my life at 7 years old where I had told my father that I wanted to be a therapist. I want to be a psychologist. And he told me, don't do it because you'll end up just as screwed up as your patients.
Oh.
And he would say this all the time. And I know I knew what he was trying to do. He wasn't trying to hurt me or block me from following my dream. He was trying to protect me. And I thought, you know what? I'm glad, because now I found RTT, and I believe that this is truly such a powerful and incredible way of transforming and changing your life. I mean, I don't believe therapy should last for years. I just don't.
Yes, because there's a whole school of thought. It's like you keep stirring up the same emotions, you're going to have the same emotions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things I do before a client even hires me on the very first breakthrough strategy call we have together is I start talking to them about what their life will be like when they're no longer struggling and suffering with anxiety or depression or the fears, right? And the overwhelm, the burnout. When they're and a lot of times, more often than not, they're like, I don't know. I've never thought about that before, because they're so used to being stuck in their problem.
Stuck. Get used to being stuck. Get used to being feeling bad. It's a good segue into we're going to do for our Just Take 10, explain to people what they can expect when they show up next week for the Just Take 10 and how that relates to how you work with people.
Wonderful. I'm so excited that we're doing this, first of all, because One of the big components about what I do is educating people, right? And hypnosis is such a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful technique that anyone can do. And so I am going to show you and demonstrate, and you will teach you. You will go into hypnosis for yourself, and you will see how easy it is. And what we'll do is we're just going to revisit a happy scene, a place and a time and experience that you have had at some point in your younger life where you felt pure joy, so happy, you felt content and peaceful. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that.
Oh, that's super exciting. In the acting world, we call that a sense memory. If you're trying to get to an emotion for a character, you have a sense memory, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
So if people want to find you, how do they find you?
So you can go to my website, which is risetherapyworks.com, or any social media handle, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, which is at Rise Therapy Works.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate your time. Hang out.
Thank
We're going
you.
to stop, and
Perfect.
then we'll. Yeah. All right. Now, I will say, knowing what I know about what's coming next week on the Just Take 10, it's worth coming back for. I don't want to oversell this, honestly, because, sometimes if people go like, oh my God, it's the best thing ever. And then you go watch this movie, you're like, really? That's the best thing ever? But it was lovely. I started. When I ended, I had just like little water in my eyes that we'll just call baby tears. And they were maybe tears of happiness or tears of joy. And it literally did not feel like 14 minutes. It's supposed to be just take 10. We went over a little bit, which is fine. We can do whatever we want here. But it goes by really fast. I even knew that it wasn't going to be that long. And when she said, okay, and now we're coming back out, I was like, man, that was fast. So please come back next week and check that out. Again, go to giveagencydallas.com to connect with us. We love to hear from you. Thank you for spending time with us. Taking time out of your busy schedule. We appreciate it. And we'll see you again next week.